Alright, number 9, 10, 11, 9 through 14. Basically, to state the quadratic equation with the given transformations. And we give you the form right here, so it's going to have the little squared. Alright, that's what makes it a quadratic. But basically, your best bet with this is identify. Is that an A, a B, a C, or a D? And then make the appropriate connections. Okay? So, we're still use page 6 in your notes, but we're kind of looking backwards. So to shift up 3, well, go down to where it says shifting up, and that's where your D value is greater than 1, or D value is greater than 0, I'm sorry. So in this case, your D value would be 3. And a reflection across the x-axis, so we'll go x-axis, is that an A or a B? We'll check your sheet. Which one goes across the x? Well, that's A. So to reflect, your A has to be negative. So those are the only two things I've got. I've got y equals negative x squared plus 3. Now you can write a negative 1 right there. But you don't need the parentheses because we don't have an A or a C. A B or a C, I mean. That sort of thing. So like I said, your best bet is just to label these things. Alright, so shift right 4. So shifting right and left, that's a C thing. But remember, we have to flip that C. So your C value is 4, but when we put it in, remember that's going to be flipped. So that's going to be a negative 4. That's how we're going to put it in. And a vertical stretch by 5. So that is a value. That's the verticals. Your A is 5. So just check your boxes and see where it flips. If you look for vertical stretch, you'll realize, oh, that's in the A box. So that's the A value of 5. So there's your A. That's where your C goes. You don't need a B or a D. So y equals 5, parentheses, x minus 4 squared. That's a 4, believe it or not. And that's where it is. There's no B value up front, so that's a 1. There's no D value, so that's a plus 0. That's just where it goes. Alright. I'll do the next one. Okay. Horizontal stretch by 6. Horizontal stretch. So look in your chart, find horizontal stretch. Alright. You realize that's a B value, but remember B's, we got to flip. So if a B, you think, well, that's 6, right? Well, no, actually we got to flip it. It's 1 over B. You'll see that all over that section. So really what we're going to put in, let me be consistent with my colors, is B is going to be 1 over 6. Because remember, we got 1 over B all over the place. Okay? And then reflection across the y-axis. To go across the y-axis, well, that means your B is also negative. B is negative. So it's just a B is a negative 1/6. That's what we're going to need. So y equals, there's no A value. There's a B, there's something inside, so I'm going to put my parentheses. Negative 1/6 x. Let's make that a little cleaner. Negative 1/6 x. There's no C value, so I can close my parentheses. Squared. There's no D value, so we're done. Okay. I'll go ahead and box these as well, so that it's obvious those are my answers. Yeah. Alright. I will go ahead and pause and see if you can do the next 3. Okay? But I'm going to continue on. Hopefully you pause and try them yourself. To go left, that's a D value. Oh no, it's a C value. C equals, to go left, that's a negative 8. But remember, when we put it in, it's got to be flipped. So that's a positive 8. Okay, that's what we're actually going to put in. A vertical compression by 5. Well, vertical, that's your A values. And the compressions, well, that means it's a fraction. 1/5. Alright? And a reflection across the x-axis. Well, remembers, so find reflection across the x-axis on your chart, and you realize, oh, that's where A is negative. So we're going to make it a negative 1/5. So y equals negative 1/5. There's no b value, so I put the x. There's a c value, so plus 8 squared, no d value. Number 13, horizontal compression by 3 and a shift left 4. Ooh, this one's a little tricky because you have 2. You have a b value of 1/3 actually. So we got b equals, you're going to think 3, but remember everything is 1 over b in there. So what you're going to put in is you're actually going to put in a 1/3. Alright, your b value is actually 1/3. Right? And then a shift left 4. Alright, so that would be your c value. But remember, your c value is always divided by b. Alright, so what divided by b is 4? Alright, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to multiply 4 by the b value, which is 1/3, which is 4/3. That's what your c value is going to be. This one's a little tricky because it's got a horizontal compression and a shift left 4. Alright? So we've only got a c and a b, so everything is inside, so a b value of 1/3 and a c value of, it's left, so it's got to be positive 4/3. Yes. Squared. And that really is where it's the hardest part about this, to go backwards, is when you have a b value and a c value. Alright? Our last one, shift right 7. To go right, that's a c value. And remember, when we put it in, we're going to flip it. A reflection across the y-axis. Well, to go across y, that's an inside, so b has to be negative. And then the vertical stretch by 9. Well, that's an a equals 9. So y equals my a value of 9, my b value of -1, my c value of 7, but I'm going to put a -7. Now here's the funky part. Remember, we have to do c divided by b. Well, if c is -7, if c is 7, and b is -1, that's -7. But remember, you got to flip it to put it in, so that becomes a positive 7 plus 7. And if it helps you to think about that backwards, so like if I got a positive 7 right there, you pull out the c value. Let's do it backwards real quick. So I pull up my c value, and you think, oh, I got to flip that. So c equals -7. But then I got to go c over b. So that's -7 over, clean that up, Robert. -7 over -1, which is positive 7. And a positive c value will go to the right 7 units. All right. That's how that works.